So is it just me, or have you noticed a certain insidiousness in modern entertainment lately? It starts off with the little things: dull, played out plots, sloppy, seemingly first draft scripts, characters that seem more like crude stereotypes than classic archetypes. But then, as you keep watching, it devolves into the truly creepy stuff. The obsession with proving a point rather than telling a story. The ham-fisted meta-analogies that get shoehorned in all over the place. And of course, the palpable disdain shown to the audience during the marketing of the product itself. Activism and propaganda pervade all, it seems. Politics binds and blinds the modern writer, reducing what are once budding creative talents into cynical, bitter hacks. This is the root of the issue as I see it. The sad but conscious decision to prioritise propaganda over art. Think about your favourite song. Think about how your favourite music makes you feel. It's a special thing, the connection between artist and audience. It's a vulnerable expression on the artist's part to put their honest emotion out there in the hopes that a like-minded soul will pick up on it and connect with it. Now think about Christian rock. Christian rock sucks. It's predictable, it's poorly constructed, it's extremely limited in its emotional expression. But the worst thing about it is that it hopes to offset its lack of musical integrity by selling you on the message that it's promoting. Christian rock is propaganda. The message and the outcome comes first, before the exploration or the journey. Disney Star Wars is the exact same way. Take a look at the promotion of the newest Disney release, The Acolyte. This is the stated motivation for the story.
Now, can we talk a little bit about the characters that you're playing in The Acolyte?
Okay, well, let me try to talk about this without getting fired or murdered. My character, she's a powerful leader. Yes. In a very woman-centered world, which I was very excited to kind of be in that, because I feel like Star Wars is very like patriarchal, so it was kind of cool to have like this sort of woman-centered figure.
There is zero artistic intent in this. They have arrived at an outcome that they want to reach: make female Jedi powerful. And knowing that their message is pure, they skip past story construction and just glue a load of components together, knowing they can dismiss any criticism they encounter as being against the message, because that's all they see their project as. It's lazy and cynical and the opposite of honest artistic expression. It's Christian rock with politics in place of religion, and it's not good entertainment.
You can't say my movie sucked, or else you're saying Christianity sucks!
Star Wars was once, at its core, an archetypical tale, the hero's journey. George Lucas created it as a labour of love, and he filled it up to bursting point with rich detail, world building, and character. The first Star Wars project was so full of ideas that it was a struggle to pull it all together into a single 2-hour movie. We owe thanks to Marcia Lucas, George's then wife and editor, for getting the final cut together. Her experience and knowledge of story craft was vital to getting Star Wars working. Hers was a great technical achievement, but it wasn't the heart of Star Wars. The fans didn't line up in droves because of the technical accomplishments of the film, although of those there were many. They reacted emotionally to all the weird and impassioned ideas of the film's creator. The script might not have been the tightest or the storytelling the most efficient, but it was a truly unique film, and it was the vision of one person expressing their own honest ideas. When I was growing up, my favourite Star Wars film of the original trilogy was Return of the Jedi. I mean, sure, like all Star Wars films, it was a little rough in parts, but the climactic scenes of Luke and Vader in the Emperor's throne room were some of the most epic, powerful scenes I'd ever seen, and they mostly made up for the misuse of Han Solo and, all the Ewoks and stuff. Anyway, in the climax of Return of the Jedi, Luke, our proven hero of the last two films, is at the peak of his powers, on a mission to bring out the good in his father Darth Vader, and willing to risk his life for the cause of the rebellion and his friends. He's taken before the Emperor, the ultimate archetype of evil, and systematically broken down. The Emperor delights in his temptation of Luke, playing on his love for his friends and family to break him down emotionally and drag him closer to the dark side. He shows him the folly of the rebellion's plan and the trap he has set for them, and Luke wavers in the face of hopelessness. He accepts the Emperor's invitation to attack, drawing him into unwanted conflict with his father and pulling him further into the sway of the dark side. But, just when all seems to be lost, Luke manages to pull himself back from the brink. With an incredible act of will and an acknowledgement of his own previous failure, Luke rejects Vader's inheritance and throws aside his weapon, choosing to face the end as the Jedi he had become, rather than live on in the dark shadow of the Emperor. This, to me, was one of the most amazing character moments I had ever seen. It was an act of pure bravery, an act of integrity in the face of certain death, and it was rewarded in the film's finale with Vader's redemption, making the change back to the light, saving his son's life at the expense of his own and ridding the galaxy of its supreme evil overlord. It was a beautiful thing, a moment then and forever burned into the memory of all Star Wars fans. But when you compare that to the parallel climax of the new Disney trilogy, well...
Somehow Palpatine returned.
I'm the Jedi.
Oh my god, how'd he do that?
Who are you? Rey Skywalker.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Let's just say the current output is a little underwhelming. Good story, good art can work wonders. It's one of the few sources of legitimate beauty in the world, and it doesn't deserve to be usurped and degraded in the way it currently has been. In an age where serious mental health concerns are becoming more and more prevalent, art should be there to invigorate and revitalise us. Instead, Hollywood writers are doubling down on the same garbage fed to us by newspapers and social media platforms, resulting in a phenomenon that I call creative demoralisation. Where's the beauty? Where even is the entertainment in some of these cases? I would at least settle for some harmless escapism made with passion for a low budget, but these productions are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at projects that are just, well, awful.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So it's commies.
Well, when it comes to the issue of politics and art, I just want to make one thing clear. People are absolutely entitled to their own views on just about anything. In fact, I would encourage all creative people to explore and refine their ideas in as many different directions as possible. A unique perspective is, after all, a vital ingredient in the creation of something truly special. But the issue is, with modern Star Wars, we're not really getting a unique perspective, are we? We're getting an adopted perspective. A perspective prescribed from a restrictive, pseudo-religious orthodoxy that doesn't officially have a name. It's the same perspective we get over and over again in modern entertainment, and it's just so boring. Herd mindset doesn't lend itself to good art, for the simple fact that an artist is never going to be able to dig deep enough to reach something unique if they're limited by censorship, taboo, or fear of not fitting in. Currently, Hollywood writers have trapped themselves in a small box of approved and acceptable narratives. Any exploration, even slightly outside the bounds of the collective ideology, is likely to be punished by the same audience that they are desperately trying to appeal to. They are trapped in a web of their own making, but in spite of myself, I do somehow feel sorry for them. It might be hard to spare a thought for a company that has so willingly destroyed a beloved franchise. A company that's gone further than any other to deliberately spit in the faces of their fans. But in this video, I'm primarily concerned with writers and the act of writing itself. These are creative people at heart. As hard as it is to believe, I do think that at one point in these writers' pasts, every single one of them had a moment where they experienced and understood the value of good story. It might have been a story read to them when they were little, a book they read in their teenage years that completely turned them around, or a film they saw in early adulthood that widened their view of what the human experience could be. But now, by limiting themselves to propaganda, they are doing a disservice not only to the audience, but to themselves as creative beings. It might be none of my business, but I'm tired of seeing them limit themselves to cliche over and over again. It's just painful to me because I know how unnecessary it is. It's my belief that art should be intensely personal as the artist can manage with the tools available to them. It should invite us into a world that is unfamiliar to us and make it feel like we're right there with the characters, experiencing the story through their eyes. Good writing is difficult, but it's no great secret. It's a craft at heart and it has its basic nuts and bolts. All you need to do is learn how it works, and then with a little or a lot of practice, you can get started getting your own ideas up and off the ground. The demand is there for good writing, and I'm sure the talent still exists in pockets also, but for some reason the Hollywood system isn't interested in rising to meet it. So I guess it's time for a change. The author Stephen King once said the following:
when it comes to the reading part of it, there's a magic moment, a really magic moment. If you read enough, it will always come to you if you want to be a writer, where you put down some book and say, this really sucks. I can do better than this. And this got published.
And you know what? He's absolutely right. We can all do better than this nonsense. This is why I've started this channel. Over the next few videos, I want to go back to the basics and explore the fundamental building blocks of creative writing. I've been a writer myself for as long as I can remember. I've always been in love with stories and storytelling, and I want to reach out to others who may be interested in picking up or refining the craft. I know many of you listening are yourselves aspiring writers and creators. Maybe you too are demoralised by the current output of modern entertainment and want to try and create something beautiful, whether as a career choice or simply for its own sake. So, the next few videos on this channel are going to be showcases of the writing craft. We're going to break down the techniques used in some of the best and brightest movies of our culture and get into some ways you can use these in your own works. These upcoming videos will be intended for use as a resource for practicing writers, but I also want them to be entertaining in their own right, and hopefully for them to provide inspiration for other creative people that maybe need a bit of a boost. I'm still new to the whole YouTube thing, so I know I've got a ways to go in terms of making good videos, especially when it comes to getting some expression in my voiceover. Maybe I'll look into some acting techniques or something. I mean, it can't hurt, right? But in the meantime, I'd be grateful if you'd leave a comment with some feedback, and maybe consider subscribing so you can join me on the journey when the next video is ready. I look forward to getting into it, and I'm sure we'll definitely have some fun along the way. Anyway folks, thanks for watching. I hope to see you all again soon.